All right. Hello again, Adventures, and welcome to another exciting daily vlog. This is number 4. And you know how in every one of these vlogs I keep saying, I have no idea how long I'm going to do this for. It just feels right now. And, eventually I might just, skip a day for some odd reason, like yesterday. Not because I actually didn't record a vlog, I did. I forgot to upload it. And in my brain, because I remember thinking about uploading it and planning on uploading it, and my brain, the Swiss cheese that it is, thought that meant that I'd actually done it. And so hours later, long after my D&D game is over, and I've done a little bit of work on one of my side projects, and I'm exhausted, so I go to bed, and I get all comfy, and I'm getting ready to turn out the lights and just relax and try and get some sleep. And I have this intrusive thought: what if you didn't upload the video? I went, no, I remember uploading it. I totally remember doing that. And so I just go on my phone to my my analytics app. I open it up. Yeah, I didn't upload it. And I'm like, well, I could just get up and go upload it now, but I was already late and I was really tired. So for those of you that keep track of this channel, I did upload yesterday's vlog this afternoon, I guess. So, yes, I have already undailified my daily vlog, but it was I did record. I just forgot to upload it. So anyway, so yes, yesterday, and the funny part was yesterday was me talking about the fact that my daily vlogs are going to be daily, and they're just going to be me vlogging, just me talking to a camera, and then I just forgot to upload them. This is how my brain works, everyone. So today, I actually in like half an hour here, I'm going to be doing, I guess you could call it a session 0, with a bunch of friends that I am not actually running the game. For the past, I don't know, maybe year and a half, maybe 2 years, I have actually been able to play D&D because a buddy of mine, whom I've played with before, I believe I was his first DM, and we've played together a lot. I've had him guest on Realms of the Wild before, and he's done a lot of projects with me. We both know each other real well. We were talking about something. I might have been asking him for feedback on something, and then he just kind of out of nowhere, he's like, "Hey, do you want to join my D&D game? We play over Zoom, and we just lost a player, so if you wanted to." And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I made up, or I kind of modified a character I had created before, which was basically my battle master card thrower, and I got to play that. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times, maybe. Because it was really inconsistent and everything, because everyone has lives. And so, yeah, after some discussion with all friends and everything like that, we decided that we wanted to maybe try a new campaign, because I just got kind of added to their campaign. And so, maybe we should just try like a brand new campaign, so we can all just kind of start together. And so that's what we're going to be doing in like half an hour ish. Is kind of sitting down and talking about the stuff that we think would be cool to do, and yeah, we'll be kind of throwing around character ideas. I have an idea for a character that I've kind of built in D&D Beyond, just to see if it was possible, and the only problem I have with the character is their main attack is a spell attack, but everything else about the character procs on weapon attacks. So I either have to find a different way to give them an attack, or I have to beg the DM to allow me to treat the spell attack as a weapon attack. But other than that, it's kind of an interesting character idea that if it turns into something, I may go through the whole build or something on it here. But I'm excited. I have never done a session zero for a game that I don't run because I'm the forever DM. And even like I said, I was with the group for like a year ish, maybe like a year and a half, something like that. And in that time, I think we played 3 or 4 times because scheduling is the true final boss of D&D. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see what we all come up with, and uh, we were kind of kicking around the idea of maybe not doing D&D this time and maybe trying a different system, but it looks like everybody is kind of happy with fifth edition right now. So it looks like we're going to be sticking with fifth edition, which is fine. I think I've mentioned this a few times before. I like D&D fifth edition. I think it's a fantastic system. I think it's probably one of the best designed systems currently on the market. And it can adapt to a lot of different play styles. But it is not a perfect system, and I have been playing D&D 5th edition for like 10 years. Technically a little bit longer than that because I did do a little bit of the playtest as well when it was still called D&D Next. And I was super heavy into it in my early years because I was a local coordinator for the Adventurers League, and I did the convention circuit and all that stuff. So, like, I became really, really invested in it, and then my YouTube channel started getting very focused on D&D, specifically with D&D Deep Dive and Play Your Faves and everything like that. Now, this channel, for the most part, is very tabletop RPG oriented. I don't do as much D&D just because there's not as much D&D to there's not as much D&D for me to focus on. Like I've done a D&D deep dive, I think, on almost every single subclass that has ever been published by Wizards of the Coast, aside from I think there's like 2 or 3 that I never did a D&D deep dive on. And eventually I have to at least try and get those final ones out just so I can say, yes, I have done a D&D deep dive for every subclass and class in D&D 5th edition. Because that would be something to be proud of for me. I don't know if anyone else would be proud of that, but I would be proud of that. And I've covered all the feats in the original, in the PHB, and like I've done a lot of stuff for 5th edition, and now I'm enjoying kind of branching out and looking at new systems and coming up with ideas on my own and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been interesting because I still have the biggest problem with people that the kind of anti D&D, anti WotC crowd, where anything that Dungeons and Dragons does, or anything that Wizards of the Coast, or anything that Hasbro does, is always the wrong thing, and they're the evil, disgusting people that are destroying independent publishers and things like that. None of that is true. It has never been true. It will never be true. It's just a lot of people that are either contrarian or just like to be angry, and they found a pretty good scapegoat at the for the time being. So yeah, no, I think D&D 5th edition is fantastic. If that's the only system you ever play, it's perfectly fine. I do think it's in everyone's best interest to try new systems and try new things, because I have brought a lot of things from other systems into my D&D campaigns, simply because it makes them more fun and it allows me to challenge my players in different ways. And that really is kind of my goal as a dungeon master is, yeah, I want to tell a good story, but I believe the best stories tend to involve the players or the characters inside overcoming really unique and interesting challenges. And if you're experiencing that story, whether it's because you're playing with me or you're watching it on YouTube or Twitch or something like that, I think experiencing the story with the characters and kind of overcoming those challenges with them is the most fun aspect of D&D, just in general, and just tabletop RPGs in general. So, yeah. So yeah, that's really it. I'm not like today's not going to be a really long vlog or anything like that. I'm actually going to upload it today as opposed to forgetting to do it and doing it tomorrow afternoon. Thank you, phone. But yeah. So already 3 days in, I have screwed up my daily vlogging. Hooray for me. But I'm still not giving up on it. Like I said, this has been... There's something about just being able to talk and having like a set schedule of talking to someone every day, despite the fact that the someone is just a camera and I am 100% alone while I'm doing this. It just feels nice to be able to talk a little bit. And it's also better for my voice if I actually use it every single day instead of like twice a week. So, yeah. Also, I reordered CPAP supplies today, and the new company that I go through is lovely. I don't know if I told people this. So because I'm disabled, 100% permanent and total. Thank you, phone. Because I am 100% permanently and totally disabled, I qualify for Medicare, and because my disability is really low, I don't make poverty wages. Like I would have to like double the amount of money I get on disability to make poverty wages. Probably more than double. I actually haven't done the math in a while. But yeah, so I have no money. I have no way to make money. And so because of that, not only do I, for my health insurance, I qualify for Medicare, which is basically the health insurance for the elderly and the disabled. It's government health insurance. And it's a nightmare, by the way. I also qualify, and it also costs money as well. Like a lot of people don't realize that unless you're really poor like me, Medicare without drug coverage is like $150 a month. And if you want to be able to get like prescriptions and things like that, that's another like $50 on top of that. So it's unbelievably expensive. The most expensive healthcare I've ever had. And I used to get my healthcare through my employer. I never paid $150 a month for my healthcare. I've also never had anyone other than me on my plan. So I'm sure there are much more expensive healthcares out there. But anyway, because I'm poor, I also qualify for Medicaid. And the way that it works is anytime I get a procedure done or I get a prescription filled or anything, and my CPAP is medically prescribed. If I don't use it, I actually suffocate at night. I did a sleep study to see if I had sleep apnea or not. By the way, I have sleep apnea. And when they did it, the way they do it is they hook you up and they have like a heart monitor and they have like an OSAT thing, an oxygen saturation monitor on your finger to see just how much oxygen is in your blood. And they have this thing that measures like how often you're breathing and stuff like that. And so what happens is if you stop breathing, the way that they figure that out is like your OSATs drop below a certain level and you just like stop breathing for just a second. And for sleep apnea, they measure that as an event, and then they they measure how many events you have in an hour. And they measure it through an entire life, but they do it per hour. For like a normal, regular, everyday person that doesn't actually have sleep apnea, anything I think under 25 or 20, somewhere in there, is normal, or maybe it's a little bit less than that. But anyway, once you get anywhere above, I think it's like above 10 or 20 an hour, which is basically once every like 5 minutes. And that's just, you just stop breathing for a second. Doesn't mean that you're suffocating. It just means your regular rhythmic breathing stops for a moment. And because of that, your OSATs drop a little bit. Anything, I think it's like above 20 to like 50, and you have mild sleep apnea. Anything above 50, uh, you have like severe sleep apnea. When they did mine, I had over 120 events an hour. So basically, every 30 seconds, I would stop breathing. Now, OSATs apparently, and this is again going off of memory from my Swiss cheese brain, normal OSATs are somewhere in like the low to mid 90s. So you never have 100% blood oxidation. That's not a thing that happens. But generally, like your normal everyday person, your OSATs are going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 92, 90, maybe up to 95, I believe. Once you get below 90, that's when things start getting a little bit dangerous, where long term having your OSATs get that low, like I mean for hours upon hours, that can actually start messing with your brain. You can start getting fuzzy and stuff like that. You start experiencing mild hypoxia, which is just a lack of oxygen to the brain. Once it gets to the low 80s, that's when you have to start worrying about actual brain damage. Like you're not just feeling fuzzy and having mild symptoms of hypoxia, you're actually starting to flirt with permanent brain damage. My OSATs dropped to 78 or 77 throughout the night because I was stopping breathing so often. I just was suffocating myself every single night, which is why I kept waking up with headaches. And also, I couldn't sleep for longer than about 2 or 3 hours at a time. Because what would happen is the reason sleep apnea is so rough on you is once your brain starts realizing that your heart's not beating, what it does is it just gives you a little burst of adrenaline, and that makes everything just start working a little bit harder. And it kind of wakes everything up. And so that's what causes a lot of people with sleep apnea to feel so tired, because they're working really hard and they're getting little bursts of adrenaline all throughout the night. That was happening every 30 seconds for me. And because of my panic disorder, my body's hardwired that whenever it feels any sort of adrenaline rush, whether it's from like a brief like jump scare in a video game, or I get worried about something, anything, my body instantly goes, oh, it's go time, and I go into full-blown panic attack. And so basically what was happening is I was effectively having night terrors every night because I was stopping breathing, and then it would release just the tiniest bit of adrenaline to get everything back on track, and then my body would go, oh, we need to freak out completely. And so I would have panic attack after panic attack after panic attack, and they would wake me up every night. And so I'd wake up in like I'd be drenched in sweat, and I'd wake up and heart's racing and everything like that, and my head is pounding because I haven't been breathing for an hour or so. So anyway, I need CPAP supplies. And because of how things work, it's all prescribed to me, and so my insurance pays for it because I'd never be able to afford it otherwise. And the way that it's supposed to work is the company will write out how much they're going to charge me for it. Then they send that to Medicare. And then Medicare sends a note back going, no, you're not allowed to charge this much for any of that stuff. This is what you're actually allowed to charge. Because they have an agreement. It's like, well, we get special deals for that. And then Medicare would pay part of the adjusted amount that they tell you that they can charge. And then the remaining amount, if I didn't have Medicaid, I would have to pay. However, because I have Medicaid, because I'm poor, Medicaid actually takes care of everything else. Now, because Medicaid doesn't want to pay for all of it, the way that anyone processing my insurance has to do it is they have to first bill Medicare, wait for Medicare to get back to them, tell them how much they're allowed to charge, and then pay their part. And then the remaining bill, they have to go and bill to Medicaid. And then Medicaid takes care of everything else. So it's a two-part process. Well, my last CPAP supplier thought 2 was a really, really big number far too big for them to deal with. So they just refused to bill Medicaid. I would call them repeatedly and tell them, no, you're doing this wrong. You need to rebill. Just please stop doing this. No. And so they're charging me hundreds of dollars that I don't have, but I don't have a choice, because if I don't get these supplies, then I suffocate myself every night. And so I have to do weird things to figure out ways that I skip meals and all these other things just to make sure I have enough money to pay for my CPAP supplies. And then I just wouldn't buy CPAP supplies, and I'd just use them until they were literally falling apart and they no longer could work. I would use them for forever. And this particular company that I'm not going to name, mostly because I can't remember it anymore, would give me a phone call, just an automated robocall, when it was time for me to reorder. I was supposed to reorder like 4 times a year, so every like 3-ish months. Well, it came time for me to reorder, and I didn't have the money for it, so I just didn't reorder. And for 6 months, they called me random times of the day. It was never the same time. It was random. It could be 7 in the morning. It could be 5 at night. It was never the same time. For 6 months, every single day. They did not miss a single day. They called me every single day. And I couldn't afford to buy anything. And it didn't matter what I didn't want to block the number or anything, because every single time that I ordered something through them, there would be a problem with the order, and they would have to call me to verify something or do something. It was the wrong address, or this part, you're not allowed to order this particular part, because I'm only allowed to order certain things at certain times, because it was weird. And so I constantly had to get calls from these people. And yeah, for 6 months, they wouldn't stop, until finally I called them up and just chewed out this poor woman that was working their call center. And I just said, you guys are absolutely horrible. You have not missed a single phone call in 6 months. And I don't pick up phone calls because of my PTSD. And every single time you guys call, you trigger a panic attack. And let's say maybe, I don't know, 1/10 of those turned into seizures because of my conversion disorder. You guys are causing me physical pain and actually damaging my body because you won't get the hint that I don't want you to call. And I felt real bad for this woman, but I had no one else I could complain to and no one else I could get to stop. I said, so I don't know what you guys need to do to make this stop. I've told you already I can't afford to get this. I've tried to get you guys to stop calling me. I don't know what I need to do. I don't know if I need to sue you. I don't know if I need to call the police, call my senator, whatever it is that needs to happen. I need you guys to stop doing this. You are killing me, literally. And the woman on the phone is like, I'm so sorry about that. I said, don't be sorry. I understand this isn't your fault. You don't have control over this. But I need you to do something to make it stop. Delete my number from your system. Whatever in the hell you have to do, do it. And then the very next time I meet, because every year I have to reprove that I don't breathe at night. I talk to my sleep doc and I go, hey, is there any chance that I can go with literally anyone else to get my CPAP supplies? Like, I will get them out of an unmarked van in a parking lot if I have to. But I can't deal with these people. And I told my sleep doc, he's like, oh, that's horrible. And I said, yeah, it is. So also they owe me like $200 because they charged me for stuff that they weren't supposed to charge me for. But thus far, I've never been able to see that money. So anyway, yeah, that's what I did today. Was I have about 5 minutes before I go and do the session 0 thing, and I reordered my CPAP supplies, and that was a very productive day for me. So anyway, it's going to be all for me today. I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye. Really? Now there we go. All right. Now my mouse stopped working, so I couldn't turn off the camera. All right, now, bye-bye.